This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Friends in tow, Mittens and El Sapo, the Baron, Mondo Von Duren, on Nightmare Theater.
Now, all you had to do was send in one penny, just one penny, and they sent you like 16 records or cassettes. And like I got Toto and Asia, all kinds of good stuff. Then once a month, they'd send you a card featuring their selection of the month. Now, if you didn't decline it quickly enough, they automatically sent the selection to you, which you had to pay for, plus, get this, an astonishingly high shipping and handling cost. See, that's where they got you. It was truly a great con, and I wish I'd have thought of it. You'd start out with like the Velvet Underground or something really cool, and you'd wind up with the collected works of Leif Garrett because you'd forget to mail that card back. It was the perfect scam. Oh, whatever. Hold on, we're on. Hello and welcome once again to Nightmare Theater. I'm your host, the Baron Mondo Von Doren, and with me as always is Mittens the Werewolf. Mittens and I were just discussing brilliant flim-flams as we await the perfect victim for any confidence man, El Sapo de Tempesto, to arrive with tonight's movie. I'm not sure where he could be. He should be here any time now.
Hey, boss. Hey, guys. It is raining cats and dogs out there today, I tell you.
Oh, so the weather is bad, is it?
Yeah, you're telling me. I almost got struck by lightning twice.
Boy, that certainly would have been a tragedy. Say, while you were out there splashing in the puddles and dodging thunderbolts, did you happen to find a movie for tonight?
Oh, I did not, boss. For I was running for my very life trying to avoid the rain and the lightning. It was crazy. At one point, the lightning got so bad, listen to this. I was standing in some very deep water. It was either sink down and drown or float there and get struck by lightning. It was a no-win situation.
Oh, trust me, if you were struck by lightning, there would be winners. Me and the viewers, lots of winners. I wouldn't call that a no-win situation.
Boss, you know, you happen to be looking at the only manservant to beat the no-win scenario at manservant school.
Yeah, okay, I saw that movie too. McCoy said that to Savick. But hey, how about instead of quoting movies, we actually show one? Do you have a movie for tonight?
No, I did not, but I did find this wedged in a storm drain. I think it's another chapter of Radar Men from the Moon. Can you show it while I run and find a movie?
Sapo, I've noticed a pattern here. You never seem to have a film ready.
It's not my fault, boss. It's like someone has put a hex on me or something. Bad things always seem to happen to me.
Listen, bad things happen to everyone. It's like how you happened to me. I was fine, and then I met you, and boom, I was hexed.
But it seems like bad things happen to me more than anyone else, boss.
You know, I gotta say, you bring a lot of this on yourself.
I still swear someone has put the hoodoo on me.
I'm sure many people have placed hexes or curses or whammies or whatever on you, and who can blame them? But at least you could have a movie ready. You could always plan ahead, couldn't you?
I'll do my best from here on out, boss. In fact, let me start tonight. I know I can find a great film. I'm going to make you proud of me, boss, I swear.
I highly doubt that. So while Papa Shango devises new and innovative ways to disappoint us, why don't you folks check out yet another chapter of Radar Men from the Moon here on Nightmare Theater.
You missed. Aim too quick. Turn the truck around. I'll get another shot at it. Right.
They're getting set for another shot at us. Get going. Better bail out. Okay.
Going to be a serious problem organizing any system of defense against those ray guns.
It's practically impossible unless we build ray guns of our own.
We can't do that without lunarium as a base for the atom reaction.
That's right. So if it beats with your approval, I'll make another trip to the moon and try to get a supply of lunarium.
Do you think you can do it?
I'm not sure, but it's worth trying. Anything is better than sitting here like tin ducks in a shooting gallery.
I heartily agree. If you're willing to make the attempt, you can certainly have permission. How soon can you start?
Right away. The rocket ship is all fueled and ready. Joan, phone Hank and tell him to get the jets warmed up. We leave right away. I want to get started before there's any chance of the news leaking out, so Reddick won't be laying for us when we get there.
Well, boys, that's it. Hope this trip is as easy as your last one.
Thanks. It should be. Bye. Goodbye.
Goodbye, sir.
Hiya, folks. Here we go again.
Hello, Hank. All set?
Anytime now.
Safety belts fastened. Fire pilot jets. Fire main jets. We're at full speed, Hank. Set a course for the moon.
Right.
Take over here, will you, Ted? We're just about here. We ought to be down in another 2 hours. I can see the city now. We don't want to get too close, so swing west, Hank, and head for that same canyon.
Okay.
We're almost to the canyon now.
Okay. I'll take her down.
All right, set her down.
You sure you don't want me to go along?
No, not this time. This is just a scouting trip to try to find where they keep the lunarium.
How do you expect to do that?
Well, if I'm lucky, I'll be able to capture one of the moon men and get some information out of him. want me to cut off your air again?
No. No.
Where is the lunarium stored?
I will tell you.
Think I'll pass?
Sure, you'll pass all right if that joker told the truth.
Well, he wasn't in any position to lie very well. No, it's just lucky I picked up one of the men who guard the lunarium.
If we're going to get there in time for you to take his place, we better hurry.
It's a little after 9. I'll go right in. You find a place to hide and watch for me to come out.
Okay.
About time you got here. I was delayed. Got it. Yes. But it's so heavy, it's going to take us a week to lug it back to the ship. Get out of sight, quick. Come on.
Patrol number 6 reporting. That is all. Very well. This is patrol number 6. Somebody stole my car. Send another one quickly.
How's the fuel pressure?
Seems okay.
Make all the speed you can. There he is. And try for a near miss. That might stop him.
What was that? A ray gun blast. See what's behind us.
There's another car chasing us. We better use our gun.
We'll have to turn around to do it. There's a bunch of rocks ahead that'll give us some shelter. We'll wait until we get there.
He's heading for some rocks. We'll have to stop him.
That's our feed pressure line. We're stuck. I'll say we are. Pressure's down to nothing. I can fix this if I have time. Fly out and try to stop them with your grenades.
Okay.
He stopped behind a rock, but I think I can blast him.
I know it's doubtful, but I hope you enjoyed that. We're, of course, still waiting for El Sapo to return with tonight's movie. There's no way of knowing where he's gone or what could have happened to him. He's probably saw a leaf floating in a drainage flow and chased it into a sewer again.
Hey, boss. Hey, Mittens. I think I did good this time. What if I told you guys I could find a movie with the guy who did the voice of Smaug in The Hobbit?
I would say you're a liar. A lazy, shiftless liar. There's no way you found a movie starring Benedict Cumberbatch in our vaults.
Oh, no, not that guy. The other Hobbit movie.
What other one? You mean that old Rankin Bass Hobbit cartoon?
Oh, yes. Richard Boone. He played Smaug in the 1977 animated TV version of The Hobbit. And we have a movie with him in it, according to the label on the can.
Wait, you mean the Richard Boone?
Yep.
Well, actually, Richard Boone was a pretty good actor. I mean, he's no Jim Neighbors, but he's not bad. He was in a lot of Westerns. You know what? I'm actually in the mood for a good Western. What movie did you get? The Alamo?
No.
Big Jake?
No.
The Shootist?
Nope, and that was your last guess. I got this one.
I Bury the Living. This is no Western. This film came out in 1958 and was directed by Albert Brand.
Not ringing any bells with that name, boss.
Brand was at best a mid-level director, mostly movies no one has ever really heard of, like 1977's Dracula's Dog, 1964's Massacre at Grand Canyon, and 1987's Ghoulies 2.
I can't say I've heard of any of those movies, boss.
Well, few people can. He was much more successful as a producer, having overseen such B-movie classics as Metal Storm, The Destruction of Jared Sin, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, and Curse of the Puppet Master, just to name a few.
Well, that is quite the impressive resume. Does this film star anyone good?
Unbelievable, it does. It's got Theodore Beichel, who you've no doubt seen in films like The Defiant Ones and My Fair Lady, as well as countless TV shows. It also stars Herbert Anderson, who is best known as the dad on the Dennis the Menace TV show.
Wow, those guys are great. This could be the best movie we have ever shown. Herbert Anderson is great in everything.
No, he isn't. I'm guessing you've never even heard of him until I told you his name. Don't try to dance your way out of this one, monkey boy. You've once again saddled us with a very bad movie.
Well, tell me this. Is there anyone in this movie worth our time? Anyone at all?
Well, it's got Howard Smith. You'll know him when you see him. He's got a face that suggests someone upstairs has a very, very odd sense of humor. It also stars veteran character actor Glenn Vernon in an uncredited role. Some of you might recognize him from So I Married an Axe Murderer, and he also played a character called Grandpa Hillbilly on The Ben Stiller Show once. And that's about it. So without further ado, let's get into the 1958 train wreck, I Bury the Living, here on Nightmare Theater.
Welcome, sir. Welcome to the immortal hills.
Thank you.
by way of making you feel right at home, Bobby. Mr. Chairman. Come along, sir. After you. This is your place now, you know. Of course. It isn't as if you was any stranger here, Bob.
Yes, but somehow this place all looks different to me. Like I never saw it before. Well, maybe I never had to. It's cold as an icebox in here.
Oh, that thing hasn't worked in years. Cement holds the wet, you know, makes the air a wee bit Christmassy. Won't bother you none once you get down to work.
I'm not sworn in yet.
Oh, that's only for show, sir. Now, let me see if I got the list of committee men right. First, Chairman Robert Kraft, yourself. Mr. Honiger, Treasurer, your Uncle George, Secretary, and of course Mr. Trowbridge and Mr. Bates, making 5 in all, right?
Right.
If you can find me at any time, my dwelling straight across the boulevard, opposite the gate. Makes it nice, living so close to my work. Now, would you like to see the sights, sir? Give the roof a chance to catch the heat. If you get to make a tour, it's a bit warmer outside.
That's quite a map.
Oh, yes, sir. That's a map of the entire cemetery, down to the weeest speck of dust. Here we are, and here's my shed with the row stone, and there's the gate you come in.
Certainly kept it up to date. There's a new mausoleum on here already.
Aye. Oh, yes, sir. This map's going to be a big help to you, Bobby. Suppose you got a customer and you want to know what ground we can show him. This is where the map comes in. One look and quick as a wink, you know who's where and what's what. It's them pins that makes it so easy. The black ones stand for the ones that is already there, and the white ones for them as has made their arrangements for the future. Now, for example, here's my place. Lovely, isn't she, Bob? There. Sun in the morning, but gets those trees to give shade in the afternoon heat.
McKee, you've been on this job now 40 years, right?
Aye.
Well, I guess the committee's right. It's high time we retired you. Nothing to worry about. Full pension. You draw the same check every month.
I'm to be paid for nothing from now on.
No, you're to be paid for 40 years of devotion. And that's something. Anyone in mind to replace you?
Oh, I hadn't given it much thought, sir, but, there must be plenty of young and hard-muscled toffs would give the right teeth for my shoes. It's a lovely place to work. You're outside, near Mother Air.
Well, let me know if you find somebody.
Oh, I will.
Yes, sir, that's quite a map.
Pardon me, sir. I just wanted to show you where we keep this in case of emergencies. No need to worry, though. We haven't had none yet. Oh, you expecting visitors, sir?
No, but that sounds like Stu Drexel.
Oh, aye. Drexel and Pretty Beth Ferris. Did I hear they was promised?
Looks like they're hitched.
She finally caught me, Bob.
Bethy, many happy returns of the day. Stu, that's a great place you picked for a honeymoon.
Oh, marriage has made me conservative. How about it, Mrs. D? Can I carry you over the threshold?
I still don't think it's so very funny. I think it's positively awful if you really want to know the truth.
Oh, Bethy, don't be that way.
What's the trouble?
How would you like to get a cemetery plot for a wedding gift?
Now, Bethy, you know Pop never meant it for a present. It's just a formal, legal sort of thing. You see, Dad left part of my inheritance in trust for when I got married. One of the provisions was that myself and my wife had first-class accommodations here at the Immortal Hills. Doesn't cost us a cent, but we have to buy the plots before the bank will let me have the cash. You know, Dad, he never did consider me much on responsibility.
He was a very smart man.
Oh, aye, that he was. And though a bonny bride should have her thoughts far from doom, it's a lucky girl whose father-in-law provides from the beyond for her future.
Isn't he sweet?
Thanks, Scotty. Bob, give us a couple near the old man, will you? And call up Owens at the bank in the morning so I can cash a check.
I don't think it's funny at all.
From the last administration, sir. Folks get a wee bit rocky when they come out here sometimes. Best to be prepared. Down the hatch.
Thank you.
Oh, over here. That's where the Drexel bunch is. It'll get so you'll love it out here, Bobby. It's a fine and green and lovely place. A fine place to slip away from the cares of the world. Slip away and live a wee bit.
As retiring chairman of the Immortal Hills Cemetery Management Committee,
George, I haven't got...
it is now my very great pleasure to announce the appointment of Robert Kraft, president of Kraft's department.
Now, George, don't shush me. You railroaded me into this.
Now, wait a minute, Bob. It's your turn. Last year was his turn. The year before it was mine. Nobody refuses to take the chairmanship. Partners, Henry.
President of Kraft's department store.
Why?
Nobody ever has. It's just not done, son.
Well, can you give me one good reason why I should take over the management of a whole big cemetery when I'm up to my neck in my own business?
As retiring...
Of course I can. Tradition. Particularly for us Crafts. You always harp on dignity, honor, prestige. Well, how do you think we got it? Because your great-grandfather, your grandfather, and your father served on every community project, board, and committee that was ever created. They served for free, but they did it for business. That's what a fine family has to do in this town. And you can't refuse to do it without losing a lot of respect from our customers.
And another thing, it's just not done.
Well, pass me over till next year. I'm up to my ears.
Bob, do you realize you're talking about only a few hours a month at the most? McKee, the caretaker, handles everything. All you do is show up once a week and sign the checks.
It's getting late, George.
Proceed, Henry.
Raise your right hand.
Well, what about Bill Honiger?
Raise your right hand. Do you, Robert Kraft, swear to discharge the duties and responsibilities of this office faithfully and completely to the utmost of your abilities?
I do.
Congratulations, Bob.
Thanks, Mr. Trowbridge. Thank you, Uncle George.
Okay, Miss Lane, you can put through his calls now.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. I'll ring him for you now.
Hello. There's a guy named Watson on the phone. Says it's urgent. You know him?
Of Olds and Watson? Olds and Watson, you know.
Oh, the Undertaker. Swell. Hello. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Watson. I'll do the best job I can. Yes, sir. Oh, you're kidding. Well, sir, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it myself. I'll be there within an hour. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, what about this ad?
I have to wait. I'm sorry.
Well, now, call McKee. You don't have to go up there every time.
This is different.
Somebody prominent?
Stu Drexel and his wife.
Stu and Betsy. No.
Hi. Hi, Jess. McKee, this is Mr. Jessup of the Milford Herald.
Hi, Jessup. Oh, the west slope between the Pattersons and the Finleys.
What else is new?
You were my big news for the day. Asked about plans for the coming year, Kraft revealed the Immortal Hills will install a drive-in bar to stimulate additional trade. I'm stuck with the obituary detail. Boy, it's cold in here.
McKee, let's get that heat on that letter tomorrow. We better get ready for the interment.
Aye, that'll be done, sir.
And you better change the Drexel pins. Black instead of white.
Oh, they already got black pins, sir.
Oh, who changed them?
Well, now, the last I remember was the very day they come out here to give you the order, and you stuck in 2 pins.
Yeah, I guess that's right. I must have picked up the wrong color.
Hmm?
Well, nothing. It's just a little weird, that's all.
What?
Well, the kids came out here right after they tied the knot. They bought a couple of plots. Stu was complying with some technicality in his trust. And it was all very cute. We had a couple of laughs. And afterwards, I jabbed 2 pins in the map, white pins, I thought, just to make it official. And I hear today they've been killed. And the maps had them on the blacklist all the time.
Okay, so what?
Well, nothing. It just made me feel a little eerie, that's all.
I think he means he marked the young couple for death, sir.
Yeah, I guess that was it. That must have been the feeling I had. Well, it's funny what'll go through a guy's mind, isn't it?
Do me a favor, McKee. If he starts fooling around with those pins again, be sure he stays away from the west slope, between the Pattersons and the Finleys.
Indeed, I will, sir.
Hi, Annie. What are you doing out here?
I had a luncheon date, but I was stood up.
I know a nice little place down the street.
I just might take you up on that.
I won't hold my breath.
George told me about Beth and Stuart, and I just had to see you. Made me think how lucky we are just to be alive and together.
Oh, Ann, this is Mr. McKee. This is Miss Craig, my fiancée, Andy.
How do you do?
Miss, would you be wanting me for anything else, Bobby?
No, thanks, Andy.
Bob. What's wrong?
Oh, nothing. I'm just a little depressed, that's all, but you'll take care of that. Ann, I kept wishing we could keep our appointment.
Oh, rendezvous, if you don't mind. Your gray flannel is showing. Actually, do you know what made me turn around and come here instead of going home?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was driving along, feeling rejected. And then all of a sudden I saw you very clearly in my mind. Bob, it's just that you're too attractive. After all, president of a department store and in charge of the Immortal Hills.
Irresistible.
I saw you and I heard you. Lunchtime, Annie. That's what you said distinctly.
Lunchtime, Annie. Well, I can do better than that, I hope.
Oh, you did. You said, I want you. And I need you, and a whole lot of lovely things I'd be embarrassed to repeat.
Yeah. You know, just about the time you were seeing me, I had you on my mind.
That's amazing.
No, I mean it. And I don't blame you for not wanting to repeat what I was thinking.
We better go to lunch or get married. Or I can just as easily join Jess at that little spot down the road he spoke of.
We regret the management does not permit exchanges once the merchandise has been purchased.
Then I'll freshen up.
Immortal Hills Craft. Hi, Carl. No, terrible. No, I'm sorry. The funeral's been confined to the immediate family. Yeah, all right, Carl. I'll see you later.
No, no.
Yeah, you're right.
What?
You're right. We are lucky to be alive and be with each other. Come on.
Hello and welcome back to those of you still with us. El Sapo has once again provided us with a thoroughly terrible movie. I know it's hard to get through this film and I appreciate your commitment to making it to the end.
Boss, I've been thinking.
Okay, here we go.
I'm serious. This movie is not as bad as you make it out to be, and I can prove it.
Well, I know, it's worse.
but it does have some redeeming qualities. Stephen King himself mentions it in a short story called The Bazaar of Bad Dreams.
Where did you find the book? And furthermore, where did you learn to read?
I borrowed it from Mittens, and I can sound things out pretty good these days. Actually, I listened to the book on tape, but the machine ate it, so Mittens helped me memorize the words so it will look like I am reading.
Oh, okay, Professor. What does the great Stephen King say about this movie?
He found it very inspirational, boss. He talks about I Bury the Living and how it influenced his short story, Obits, when he says, I was thinking of that movie when I wrote this story. So there you go, points for me. This movie influenced the great Stephen King.
Okay, game on. How long is this movie?
I believe you'll find it is 76 minutes long.
Even though it seems like it's 8 hours long, you're right. So we know the movie is 76 minutes long, and what else does King say about this movie? Continue reading on that same page over here.
I don't think I can quite make out the rest
Sapo.
of it. Okay, let me see. He's talking about movies he watched and he saw on TV and how editing them for TV made them so they didn't scare him. He says, one film I saw on TV, however, did the job. At least the first hour or so of its 76-minute runtime did.
Go on.
This is a word I can't pronounce. The denouement wrecked the whole thing, and to this day, I wish someone would remake it and carry it to its hair-raising premise right there through the end. That film has perhaps the best horror movie title of all time, I Bury the Living.
So, the very source you quote to defend the movie actually says he wishes someone would remake the movie and make it better. You see, Sapo, it's just a bad movie, and it's only going to get worse. Just admit it, you've brought us a very bad movie.
Well, we can at least agree that it has a great title.
Great titles don't make great movies, Sapo. See, even a movie with a great title and a reasonably good actor can be bad. Really bad. I'd expect you to know that by now. We're going to have a long talk soon. Look, folks, I don't want to do it either, but why don't we get back to I Bury the Living here on Nightmare Theater.
Hey ho, nobody home. Eat nor drink nor money have none. Still, well. Hey, Bobby! Be happy. Hey ho. Ah, I picked the Strexel stone for glass. Fine and rich and swirly. I'm a granite man myself. Bobby! Bobby, I've got a surprise.
Found your replacement.
Oh, well, no, not yet. But I'm scouting the countryside. This is far sweeter. This is what I call getting things done.
Okay, you should have been an executive.
Hey, best take off your coat, Bobby. You'll be getting overheated. Fairly quiet this week. Only one passing. Now, if you'll just sign these.
Let's get rid of these flowers.
Oh, aye, they smell a wee bit sickly. I was hoping to keep them for the burial this afternoon.
We need much help?
Oh, no, this is just an average funeral. They don't come like the Drexel doings every day, thank the Lord.
I keyed this bill for W. Isham. What's it for?
Well, he's the lad for this afternoon, Bobby. Oh, no need to look so sad. Willisham was the same age lad as me. Oh, there's something I've been meaning to tell you. Mighty queer it strikes me, Bob. I went to the map just after we got the news. They changed Willisham's pin to black. It was already black. Looks like there might be something creepy up with that map. Changing pen colors without human assistance, no less.
I changed Mr. Isham's pin, I did.
But, Bob, you haven't been here since he died.
Just a please. I know, I changed his pin before he died, not after. Jess, it's Bob Kraft. Can you come over here right away? No, I'm at the cemetery.
That map's nothing but an old piece of paper hanging on the wall. All you do when you stick pins in it is to make holes in the paper. White pins, black pins, safety pins. It doesn't make any difference, see? Well, look, it's unfortunate that it worked out this way, but coincidences are part of everyday life. Some are funny, some are pretty odd, but this one isn't even good enough to make the back page of the shopping news. That's all it is, Bob, coincidence.
Yeah. You're right, Jess. Thanks.
That's okay. Sometime when I've tied on a real headbender, you can do the same for me. What's your trouble?
Well, nothing, but I've been through all this before. The grass, and the quiet, and that sound. I never knew what it was. It's the sound of a name being cut into a headstone.
Yeah, I've heard of people who thought they'd been through the same bit before in their dreams. I think it's even happened to me.
What would you say if I told you this happens to me regularly? Ever since I was a child. Sometimes as often as every other week.
I'd say you were sensitive or exaggerating.
Third floor sportswear, 9280 gross. Compared to 8500 as the same date last year. Basement sportswear.
I'm going to call Bates and Honegger and Trowbridge right now and tell them I'm quitting. Don't worry, George. Nothing drastic will happen to the store. My mind's made up.
You mean mixed up? I've lived in Milford all my life, and I can't remember any man who ever let that place get the better of him. Why, when I was chairman, I'll bet I stuck the wrong colored pins in that thing 12 times. If I ran out of one color, I used the other. You've only been down there a couple of times.
George, I put black pins in the map for the Drexel couple the day they were killed. Now, I didn't think anything of it at the time. And then I took a white pin out of the map quite at random, and I put a black pin in its place, and today I find out the old man it belonged to died during the week.
Bob, that's terrible. For heaven's sake, Bob, everybody loves a ghost story. Where's your sense of humor? You don't really believe that stuff you're telling me, do you?
No. But I still think I may be learning something about myself. Where are you going?
Oh, I think I'll just take a run out to the cemetery.
What for?
Sounds like it might be fun. After all, I've been trying to find some way to wipe out our competition for years.
Good night, George.
Want to take my car?
All right.
Hello and welcome back to Nightmare Theater. This is some film, isn't it?
I think it's quite good, actually.
You would think that, wouldn't you?
Well, you know what, Dr. Smart Guy? I went back into the library and I found another Stephen King book, and he praises this movie in his book called Dance Macabre. How do you say that word, boss?
Macabre.
Yes, that one. See, on page 179, he has a list of the top 20 scariest movies of all time.
That's not what the list means, El Sapo.
I am looking right at it. Number 16, I Bury the Living. There you go. Game, set, match. El Sapo scores. Circle gets to square. Woo-hoo-hoo!
Sapo. King describes 20 films and then asks you to guess the film based on the description. Then he provides the answer. Yes. Number 16 on the list is I Bury the Living.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
But what description does he provide for the movie?
I'm not sure I can make that out. That page is missing. I think somebody must have torn that one out.
Sapo, read it out loud.
Okay, he says, once upon a time, there was a caretaker who discovered that if he put black pins into the vacant plots in his cemetery map,
Go on.
the people who owned those plots would die. But when he took out those black pins and put in the white pins, do you know what happened? The movie turned into a big pile of... I don't think we can say that word on TV.
No, we can't, can we? See, Stephen King agrees this movie is bad.
But he's from Maine, though. Maybe that word has a different meaning up there.
It doesn't. Sapo, this illustrates a problem I have wanted to talk to you about for some time. You don't follow through. You read one page but not the others. You never finish things. You're all potato and no mash. We're going to have a long talk about this. Folks, let's get back to the movie Stephen King himself called A Word We Can't Say Out Loud here on Nightmare Theater.
Won't be but a moment, sir.
Now, don't bother, McKee. I think I've got it. Oh, that'll be all, McKee.
Is everything all right, Bobby? We'll see you later, Andy.
Well, the place hasn't changed a bit since I was chairman. A few more pins in the map.
Black ones.
White ones, too. Sit down and relax, Bob. I think I can get this whole thing cleared up for you.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to convince you that there's nothing out here for you to worry about.
George, let's forget this.
Bob, I said I'm just going to convince you.
Well, George, suppose you took Henry Trowbridge's white pin out and put a black one in its place, and tomorrow morning he turned up dead.
It's not a chance.
Well, I know not a chance, but suppose by some weird coincidence it happened. Now, it's happened to me 3 times already.
I deal strictly in facts, son. I don't go for this coincidence bunk. But if Henry Trowbridge even looks a little peaked tomorrow, you can resign and I'll back you up. Now, Henry Trowbridge, let me see if I remember.
George, I just mentioned Henry as an example. Now, you're not going to use him.
Well, Henry's as good a choice as anybody, considering he directly preceded you as committee chairman.
Wait a minute, George. You better let me put the pin in. If you do the honors and nothing happens, it won't be quite as conclusive.
By all means, let's not diverge from the established pattern. But I'll have you know I was no slouch when it came to pinning the tail on the donkey when I was a kid. No reflection on Henry. Go ahead, Bob.
Better call Henry and tell him what we did.
He'd only think we were kidding.
No, he'd believe you.
Then he'd call my physician, and he'd reserve a nice quiet room for me at Providence Hospital. Let's keep this quiet, my boy. Henry can't complain. After all, if his term had run a week or so longer, he might be having the willies instead of you.
Hello, Miss Trowbridge. This is Bob Kraft. What are you doing up so late? Nothing serious. I just meant to call Henry earlier and it slipped my mind. Put him on, will you? Or if he's watching the movie and enjoying it, ask him to call me back during the commercial.
No, Bob, just hold on and I'll get him. He's upstairs reading in bed, but I'm sure he's not asleep.
Well, I hate to disturb him.
You just hold the wire, Bob.
Hello, Henry?
He's not breathing, Bob. I've got to call a doctor.
I understand. I'll I'll hang up right away. I'm terribly sorry.
Wait here. This won't take long. Morning.
How do you do, sir?
Well, I don't understand it. Jess said he'd be here in 20 minutes. Lieutenant Claiborne?
So that's it, huh? Sure big enough. There are the black pins, eh?
We're particularly concerned with these four. Isham, and the Drexel couple, and now Trowbridge.
Let me get this straight, Mr. Kraft. You say that every time you stick a black pin in the map, people turn up dead?
That's right. Well, go ahead, Lieutenant. You think I'm a crackpot, and I hope you're right. I just want to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt.
Stewart and Elizabeth Drexel, DOA, Emergency Receiving Hospital, result of highway collision. William Isham, cause of death, cerebral hemorrhage. Henry Trowbridge, coronary thrombosis. Well, the rule is this. Where no evidence of homicide exists on initial investigation, the matter will be dropped. Investigated and found nothing. Sorry. Jessup?
What's new, or should I say real?
Nothing like murder, if that's what you're after.
I'm sorry Bob saw fit to disturb you, Lieutenant.
No harm done. What do you make of it, Jess?
I keep telling him it's just coincidence.
Yeah. If I were you, Mr. Kraft, I'd take a week or two off. Take it easy. You'll forget all about it. If you're going to use the story, kindly refrain from mentioning my name.
I know. Lieutenant Claiborne, with an E on the end.
Boy, I think 4 deaths could appear so flimsy to a policeman.
You never should have called the police. Claiborne's one of the best. Any other guy might have looked for a big, heavy book to throw at you.
Yeah, maybe you're right. On the other hand, maybe that thing's dangerous. Really dangerous. Or maybe the element of danger is in a man. In me.
Bob.
Is there something different about me, Jess? I'm really beginning to wonder.
Hey, buddy. If there is anything to this map bit, don't go blaming it on nameless forces. Maybe somebody's trying to scare you. Could be you got an enemy or two.
Hello and welcome back to Nightmare Theater. We hope you're enjoying I Bury the Living. Speaking of things I like to bury, El Sapo?
Yes, boss?
I didn't want to do this publicly, but we're going to have a talk. I really can't put this off any longer. It's that time of year again.
It's Jim Neighbor's birthday again? I'm not ready.
No, that's not for a few months. But that is sort of what I want to talk to you about. You being prepared for things. It's annual job evaluation time. We need to address a few items.
Uh-oh.
Now let me start here. Let me start with your general appearance. Perhaps a bath once a month or so is in order?
I can do that, boss. No problem.
All right, and maybe you could wash that suit once or twice a year?
I got me a gallon jug of Febreze, boss. No problem.
Okay, good. But the main problem here is your lack of attention to detail, your follow-through, as it were. Sometimes I question your commitment to the needs and mission of Von Dorn Enterprises and its subsidiary companies.
Hey, I kept my mouth shut during that Senate investigation into your line of vitamins and energy supplements.
And I certainly appreciate that. It kept us all out of jail. But it doesn't change the fact that you are more than often not prepared.
I can do better, boss, I promise.
And I can help you do better. In fact, I've created this job board to help you.
Wow.
It will, I'm going to deduct the cost of materials and label out of your paycheck.
Okay.
But it has jobs on it, and as you complete them, you take the pin from the pending section, and you place it in the completed section.
Wow.
Is that easy? It's really easy.
Even I can do this.
Yeah, even you can follow this. I really hope you can. You're going to have to shape up, El Sapo. As it stands right now, only something amazing you can save you from getting the axe.
Something amazing, eh?
Yes.
Like if I were to, I don't know, save your life or something?
No, that's not likely to happen. And if I were you, and thank goodness I'm not, I'd focus on completing the tasks on this board.
Okay.
The tasks are simple and the process is easy. Just follow the board.
That is brilliant, boss.
It's elementary, actually. Look here. See where it says, have movie ready?
Right here?
Yeah, all you have to do is put the pin in when you have the movie ready. It's easy, right?
Well, it sure sounds like it, and I enjoy sticking pins into things.
Well, that's good. So let's get back to the movie, and while these folks watch, why don't you get to work on the job board?
I'll do that.
See what tasks can be done for today. Be productive for once.
Sounds good, boss. I promise to do better.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath, but I do hope you make an effort to improve yourself, El Sapo. Folks, while he works on himself, let's get back to I Bury the Living here on Nightmare Theater.
Not going to rule out saving your life, though, boss.
Somebody using your desk, George.
He came in to keep me company, darling.
That was very sweet of him.
Oh, darling, you must be dead tired.
I'm all right.
No sleep, and then to have to go back
I'm
out
all
there
right.
again?
There's no crime in needing a good rest.
George, I've got some correspondence to take care of.
I've already taken care of your mail, and I took the liberty of making reservations for you. Flight 33, leaving for Miami at 5:45. My pal Sanford owns one of the finest hotels on the
George, thanks anyway. There's nothing I'd rather do, but I can't possibly go now.
Bob, I gave you my word. If anything happened to Henry, you could resign. I talked to Charlie and Bill Honiger, and they understand completely. It's all fixed, son.
The situation's changed. Until this thing's cleared up, I'm not about to resign.
Oh.
And when you tell the others, ask them to meet me here in my office, 7:30 tonight.
Awfully short notice.
The committee can't just ignore what's happened.
I guess you're right.
Darling,
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to snap at you.
now why can't you resign?
Well, because possibly something real, unreal, I don't know, is waiting to kill one of us every time I jab a black pin into that map.
Bob, if you're talking about Henry Trowbridge, the poor man died of a heart attack. Heart disease is the country's #1 killer.
Maybe not in Milford.
Oh, Bob, you can't mean that that map is literally killing people?
No, Ann, maybe it isn't the map.
Well...
What about the other day? You saw me, you heard me. Lunchtime, Annie, I want you, I need you.
Bob, I was obviously trying to bring a little romance into our very dull and dismal lives.
No, Ann, don't try to deny it.
I
now.
do deny it. Bob, I love you. I'm not in any sort of occult thrall to you. Hey, can't you take a joke? All right, then I was lying too. Does that bring you back to reality again? Bob, I think we better take advantage of those plane tickets. George's Mr. Sanford's could be best man.
The offer's awfully attractive.
I love you so much.
And if you're going to cry, do it someplace else.
Now, Bob, it's real simple. We're willing to play ball with you. If you want to remain chairman of this committee, we wouldn't think of trying to dissuade you, because we have confidence in you. Full confidence.
All the confidence in the world, Bob.
Now, all we want before we break this up is a promise from you, Mr. Chairman, that before you turn in tonight, you'll go out to the cemetery. Now, let me finish. You'll go out there and change my white pen to black. Charlie's and George's. Just as simple as that. And then go home and go right to bed.
No, sir.
You're not the committee, Bob. You're only our chairman, with the duty to carry out the will of the majority. We feel that you should do as Bill said, because it'll put an end to this business once and for all. Otherwise, we'll do the resigning right here and now.
Well, let me sleep on it. Let's all sleep on it. I don't think you people realize what might be involved here.
Motion defeated. Tonight.
Well, your devotion to the principle of majority rule moves me deeply. Okay. And good night. Charlie. Here goes nothing, Uncle George. Who is it?
It's me, Bobby. Open up.
I seen your car lights from my window driving through the gate, so I come running.
You needn't have bothered, McKee. You put in a full day already, now I'll see you tomorrow.
No. Bobby, please. Bobby, listen. When you locked and bolted this place, I said to myself, now there's a man who knows his business. That's what I said. He may not know everything what's behind it, but he knows when a thing's to be fooled with and when it's to be left alone. There's nothing to fear with a man like Bobby Kraft at the tiller. That's what I said.
Well, that's fine now. You run along home and don't worry about a thing. Nothing's going to happen to you.
No. Please. Bobby, lock this door again and send yourself home. Or else, who can answer for what may happen to the whole miserable lot of us?
It'll have to be open sometime. If I don't do it, they'll get somebody who will. Good night, Andy. Good night. Andy, go home. What do you want, Jess?
Bob? Why didn't you answer me? I've been looking all over town for you. I'm calling from your place now. What are you doing at the cottage again? Haven't you had enough for one day?
Jess, I think I've done something terribly wrong.
Hello, Pete. What are you talking about?
Well, we had a meeting of the cemetery committee after closing tonight. Bill Honegger, Charlie Bates, and George, everybody. And they voted to make me come out here to the cemetery and stick black pins in the map for each of them. Just like it was some kid's nightmare. So I did it. Jess, there's a black pin in that map for Charlie Bates and Bill Honegger and George. And if anything happens to them, to any of them, it's my fault, nobody else's.
Nothing's going to happen to them, Bob. As a matter of fact, I think they did you a big favor. I've never heard of a coincidence involving 3 people dying all at once. By tomorrow at this time, this whole big worry of yours will do nothing but a lot of hot air.
Well, I hope you're right, Jess. I guess there's nothing for me to do but see this thing through.
I think I'll check on him myself and see... Bob? Bob? Honegger, Bates, and George.
Hello and welcome back to Nightmare Theater. I know you aren't enjoying it, but I'm duty bound to say I hope you're enjoying I Bury the Living. Now, Sapo, what's the deal with all of these clothes?
I'm not sure, boss. I swear I folded all the clothes today.
Well, that's pretty odd.
Well, I'm pretty sure I did. Hey, wait, let me check the job board. Yep. This section has a pin in it. I guess after I folded all the laundry up, someone came behind me and unfolded it and made it dirty again.
Now, you wouldn't be just changing pins on the board, would you?
Oh, what? No, not me, boss. I'd never do that.
It's just odd. The pin has clearly been moved as if someone thought moving the pin would suddenly make the job finished.
Wow, we have a mystery on our hands. Mittens, did you unfold all these clothes? Well, maybe it was that weird guy from downstairs. Maybe he came up here and shuffled everything around. I'm stumped. I guess it's just one of those things. Wow. So how's the movie going? Did the Army heed the elves' warning and respond to the UFO onslaught in time?
What are you even talking about?
Well, see, I was so busy working and doing my chores that I didn't have time to follow the movie. In fact, I've been working so hard, I forgot what movie we were showing tonight. It's something about a ghost on a train, right?
No, it's not about a ghost on a train. I don't like to call anyone a liar, El Sapo, but if the shoe fits...
Shoes? I just checked the job board and I'm not supposed to shine your shoes for another few days.
Okay, listen, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You say you did the laundry, yet clearly the laundry hasn't been done. Stranger things have happened, and strange things always tend to happen whenever you're around. Now, I can't hide it. I'm disappointed, but I hope you're taking this job board in the spirit in which it was intended. Anyway, let's get back to I Bury the Living here on Nightmare Theater.
Lieutenant Claiborne, please.
Homicide. This is Homicide, Sergeant Greer.
Lieutenant Claiborne, please.
Not here. Can I take a message?
Sergeant, this is Bob Kraft, Kraft's department store.
Oh, sure. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second, I'll check. Mr. Kraft, are you calling on police matters or just something personal?
Well, it's a little bit of both, Sergeant.
Drive at Adams 1311.
Thank you. Adams 1311. Honiger, Adams 1311. Adams 1. Homicide.
Yes, sir. Homicide.
This is Bob Kraft speaking. I can't get through to that Adams number.
Oh?
Claiborne's at that number, and it's imperative that I speak to him right now.
Well, sir, just a second, sir. I think he's reporting in on another line. They've been trying to get you, but your line's been busy. Hang up and I'll call you back right away.
Something happened to Bill Honiger. Hello.
Yes, Bob.
Jess, I'm expecting a call from Claiborne. Hang up. Call me back in 10 minutes.
Claiborne's with me.
Let me talk to him.
He's not here now.
What's wrong, Jess?
Bill Honiger's dead.
As soon as I found out, I routed Claiborne out of the sack and filled him in on the whole wild story. We were over at Honiger's in 10 minutes with 2 squad cars detailed to cover Charlie Bates and your uncle.
How did Honiger get it?
Well, he didn't. That's the trouble.
What?
Poor guy just dropped dead.
Nothing out of the ordinary. Bates? Charlie Bates?
They found him in his apartment.
Say it.
No homicide. He just stopped breathing.
George?
George, yeah. I called and told him about Honiger before I left for Claiborne's. By the time the police got there, George had already left. Well, they'll find him, Bob. Don't worry.
I'll be waiting for word about George. Let me know.
See you followed our wishes to the letter. Come on. I'll drive you home before you catch pneumonia.
You 3 men made a terrible contribution to this town tonight, whether you meant to or not. I'm not going anywhere, Uncle George. I'm staying right here.
Well, I'll admit that what was Charlie and Bill going so suddenly.
Charlie and Bill and Henry and Isham and Beth and Stu.
Stop looking at the map.
You're looking at it. I'm looking at you. We're both waiting, aren't we, Uncle George? Waiting to see if you escape.
Escape dying? Nobody escapes that, my boy.
The only question is how long. The only question is, does a man die in his own time or in the maps? So far, everyone's been forced to conform to its schedule. Everyone but you.
That puts me back on schedule. My own schedule.
If it makes you feel any better.
Let me tell you something. From now on, if you want to see me, you're going to have to come down to the store. I won't make another special trip on your account.
The next time I see you, George, we'll both be right here. Homicide.
Homicide.
This is Robert Kraft out at Immortal Hills.
Hayborn speaking.
Lieutenant, my uncle just left here. I think under the circumstances, the least you can do is put a man on to watch over him, no matter how ridiculous the situation seems to you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Kraft. We'll take care of it right away.
He's wearing an overcoat over his robe and pajamas.
We put a description of the wire quite some time ago.
And you do think there's danger?
Sergeant Kraft, George F. driving east on Bunker Hill. Road from destination Manor Apartments, We'll have your uncle safe and sound in 10 minutes, Mr. Kraft. You'll hear from me.
Okay, tell me again.
Well, see, his name was Mort.
Just a little
and he was
bit.
from the
There
planet
definitely
Orc.
is room
And he
for
showed
Leo.
up on Happy Days first.
Make room for Leo.
But he used to sit on his head, and
Don't
people
let
thought
us
that.
never let go.
See, you thought it was funny.
Oh,
It's
I
not
did
really
think
that
it was
funny. Oh, hello, everyone, and welcome back. We're once again here in the sub basement of the television studio with the mysterious Curator, and he's brought us another item from the amazing Merrill Movie Museum for us to look at tonight. So what do we have tonight, sir?
So I have a very cool piece of movie history. This is something that you definitely usually don't see if you aren't involved in actually making the movie. This is a call sheet. A call sheet is what they use on the set to show when everybody's got to be, where they've got to be, and when they've got to be there.
He just yells when he needs me.
Right, right. But when there's more than 3 people in a show, they need to keep track of everybody. So this is a call sheet for the movie Lifeboat, directed by Alfred Hitchcock in 1943. It's starring Tallulah Bankhead. And so this was a document for a particular day of filming. It was August 14th, 1943. For everybody that needed to be on the set, that needed to be there. It's been framed with a lobby card for the film. And even more interestingly, signed by the director himself, Alfred Hitchcock.
Wow.
So this is a piece of cinematic history.
Absolutely. So this would have been used actually on set, and this is directly from Hitchcock's hands, basically.
Right.
That's pretty amazing stuff, because does stuff like this get out often, or is it kind of destroyed, or?
A lot of times it's just destroyed. You do see it more frequent now that people have gotten wind of collectability and things like that. It's a little easier to get a hold of things like call sheets nowadays, but from something this old, they're very hard to come by.
And of course, Hitchcock, one of the most prolific and well-respected directors in the history of cinema, a guy who started out making films in England and then came to the United States, and of course produced classics going back to things like Shadow of a Doubt, all the way up to like the films that I think modern audiences are more familiar with, like The Birds and Psycho and things of that nature that we still see all the time on classic movie channels and things like that. So he was definitely a very influential guy.
Influential and revered, and yet somehow underappreciated in his time. Never won an Academy Award,
Neither did I.
which is absolutely shocking considering he is the basis for a lot of film school classes and the inspiration for hundreds of directors that have followed him. But never won an Academy Award, even when doing something like adapting a John Steinbeck novel, which this was.
And this was sort of out of the ordinary for him. because in his later years, he really did get into more of the mystery and suspense kind of films. I don't know if you'd call Alfred Hitchcock a horror director. Maybe The Birds crosses that line. Maybe Psycho.
Maybe Psycho.
But he was really more of a suspense director. I think he would be more akin to what a film like Silence of the Lambs. If Alfred Hitchcock was still making films, I think he would have made something like Silence of the Lambs. And in a way, he kind of did when he made the film Frenzy, which was one of his final films that was much more a taut sort of psychological thriller with a really horrible killer and a whole whodunit going on the whole time too. So kind of in that same vein. But he's one of those directors who, you know, he did amazing things. He even in World War II, he even directed actually edited footage of concentration camps and made films that he said that tore his soul apart, that he never wanted to see them again, but they were very important documents of what was going on during that war and ways to let the world know what was happening and atrocities and things like that. You know, and of course he was also a TV star. A lot of people forget that. He had Alfred Hitchcock Presents, which was the television show that he hosted, and he, you know, appeared in every episode doing an intro at the beginning. And it's also interesting because Psycho was a movie that was basically a challenge to himself. He said, I have this TV crew, I have these sets. Can I make a movie for very little money and that's going to be effective and scary? And of course, I think we all know Norman Bates is one of the great cinema villains, and he really was able to take that crew and make something special. So kind of an amazing guy, and as you said, never got an Academy Award for any of his work, which seems ridiculous.
Well, and Psycho was a film in particular that was underappreciated in its day. The critics of the day were not impressed with it, and it only gained luster as time went on.
Right, and he had other movies like that too. Like Vertigo is now considered one of the greatest movies of all time. At the time, it was dismissed by a lot of critics. You know, a movie like Rear Window. You know, he worked with Jimmy Stewart quite. You know, he was known for working with Beautiful Blondes, Sean Connery, and Marnie. You know, he just worked with a lot of different actors and a lot of different folks. North by Northwest, of course, another of his films. So you can't talk about great film and not talk about a guy like Alfred Hitchcock. So, well, thank you for bringing us this amazing piece, and why don't you folks get back to the movie, not quite as good as anything Hitchcock did, here on Nightmare Theater.
Are you sure your uncle was out there tonight? You didn't just think you saw him?
I told you he just left here.
That was 2 hours ago, and no sign of him anyplace. I put out on all points after the first hour. He's not on the road, and he's not home.
Hold the wire, Lieutenant. You better come out, Lieutenant. He's still here.
All the day, Randall, my son, where have you been all the day?
Andy!
Someone, I've been out hunting, mother, I've been out hunting. Mother, make my bed soft, mother. Make my bed soon, for I'm sick.
Andy! McKee, I'm going to burn that stuff in the greenhouse if this heater doesn't work by tonight.
Bobby, it took a whole lifetime of collecting for me to get the whole caboodle here. And see here, you haven't even touched your food. Man, you got to eat if you want to keep above the ground. Lights for me, Bobby. Of course, I can't answer for what happens after sundown.
Better wait in the car. Irresistible.
Aren't I crazy?
Completely.
I'll never change, I'm afraid.
Annie, I'll see you later.
Bob, please. I take it back.
What?
That day in the car, I did see you and I did hear you. I really did. I should never have denied it.
It's all right, Annie. I'll see you later.
You have a party named Jacob Mittel someplace on the map? M-I-T-T-E-L.
William Porter? Sure.
You know him?
Yeah. We contact the French designers through Middle. Matter of fact, he's in Paris now.
Better strike him out.
Jenny?
Go ahead.
How did he die?
He isn't dead. At least not yet. I know what you're thinking, Mr. Kraft. You're thinking that we tricked you into killing Jacob Mittel. Well, you're 100% right, so try to relax, huh? This one's on the police. You see, Jacob Mittel's in the prime of life. No previous major illnesses, no record life expectancy, exceptionally good. And he's in Paris with all that ocean water to protect him from this mess. Up until now, all the deaths have been confined to the local area. If it strikes somebody on another continent, then we've really found something.
I knew I should have gotten rid of those pins 4 days ago. Even the map, the whole thing, out. What I want to know is, what are you going to tell the district attorney is responsible for these deaths?
We gave this case a real full-dress investigation, Mr. Kraft. Questioned you and all the other suspects and witnesses until the point of comedy. Found nothing. No motive, no opportunity, no suspect, no crime, no weapon. Except 7 pins went in. And the 7 people died, not 1, 7. Who put in those pins? You did, all 7. Other chairmen and so on have been putting pins in that map for years, and nothing happened.
But with me,
it isn't impossible for a certain kind of man to be endowed with powers that nobody had ever dreamed he could have.
A lot of scientists claim that. Maps and pins can't kill alone. The power of a human brain has to be behind them. Like in the Indies, I guess, those voodoo dolls you hear about. Which doctor sticks pins in the thing until the guy in question is jinxed into dying. Of course, I know he didn't mean to kill anybody. I have to get back. You'll hear from me the minute we get word. I think I'd best be running along, too. Bob. I think so.
Destroyed them. Something in me killed them. Something in me. But I couldn't refuse the job. Not a man with my reasoning power. If I have the power of death using the black pens, then I must have the power of life using the white ones.
Welcome back to Nightmare Theater. I mean, I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize once again for tonight's movie. I know it is, and I've counseled El Sapo, and we're hoping we can bring you better films in the future. Now, Sapo, I can't help but notice all the clothes are still here on the table, and now it looks like there's a bunch of dirty dishes as well.
Well, let's check the trusty old job board here, boss. It says the dishes were, yes, it says the dishes and laundry were both completed on time and under budget.
Now, clearly they weren't. And have you noticed how much hair there is on the ground?
it certainly is not my hair.
I know that. It's Mitten's hair. It's gotten into everything.
Well, let me check the old board. Yep, I thought so. I've clearly moved the pin for the task of sweeping up hair. That task can be marked down as completed. Another job well done by El Sapo.
Well, there's a pile of hair 3 feet deep in the outer corridor, and if it gets into the air system, we're all going to be in trouble.
Well, that is a good point, boss. I guess if the reactor core does get clogged and causes the power to shut down, someone will have to go into that reactor core and unclog it. Of course, walking into an open reactor core would likely kill someone, but the clog would be released, and that's what's important, right? You know what? I'll do it if it comes down to it. I'll most likely undoubtedly get killed in the process, but you know, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one.
Well, yeah, worst case scenario, that would happen. The levels of radiation, what did you just say?
Who, me?
No, Mittens. Of course you, stupid.
Well, I just said I would walk into the reactor core and dislodge any clog, even though it will mean my ultimate death. I'll save the day and be labeled as a hero.
No. You said the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. Sapo, you are quoting lines from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, just like earlier when you referenced the Kobayashi Maru. And you know what? That hair in the hallway looks suspiciously like your hair. How long did it take you to save that hair up? You set up this whole enterprise to make yourself look like a hero.
I swear, boss, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do. You took all this time to set it up so it would look like the reactor core was collapsing and that you were putting yourself in danger by clearing it. All to make yourself look like a hero. Look, Sapo, I'm not looking for a hero, just someone who can do the job. That's all I would have you do. Wouldn't it be easier just to do the work instead of coming up with a harebrained scheme?
Okay, boss, you got me. I was hoping to get some sympathy with what everyone knows is a spot-on Spock impersonation.
I swear, I just don't know what to do with you. Folks, we're going to get back to the conclusion I buried the living here on Nightmare Theater, but what am I going to do?
May the Force be with you.
This is the cemetery, that's right.
This is Rosamund Middle.
Rosamund, I don't... Yes.
Can't you hear me? This is Rosamund Middle. Jay's wife.
Rosamund, yes.
Just received a cable, Bob. Can't you hear me?
He just received a cable from Paris, France.
That's right. I'll read it again.
Regret. Jacob W. Middle died in Hotel Royale. Body awaits disposition. Signed American Embassy, Paris, France.
He died there.
Died in Paris, France. Died. Jacob W. Middle.
Impossible. Impossible. He cannot be dead. What? What? You still think that thing's the killer? Or your own puny power, Mr. Chairman? The only power you or that map ever had was me, so far as killing goes. You marked them for death, Mr. Chairman, but who did the deed? Andrew McKee.
Oh, Andy. Why?
You and your high and mighty committee, turning out a man with 40 years of service on the grounds. 40 years.
I told you, Andy, a full pension.
It isn't cash what keeps a man going, lad. What keeps his feet on the ground and keeps him on the job till the Lord makes him quit. The Lord, but nobody else. This is my hills, my lands, my activities. Aye, we come a long, dark road to put this gun to your head, Bob.
Andy, we never tried to take anything away from you.
Aye, I made sure of that. I snuck up on each one of them in turn when they was alone and held them fast like so until they went. Aye, even big old George, your uncle, left as easy as a baby.
Middle. That doesn't explain what happened to Middle. Middle's dead.
Will you stop that confounded talk, man? That map's not but a doodad. You fool. There is nothing to fear here. That map.
Andy, talk about something else, quick. It's important.
We're finished with talking. Finished you are with maps and pins black and white.
Talk about something else, I said. It's important right now. Talk about anything else. Now.
Why?
Because I caused you to kill those people. Andy, you better get this straight right now. You heard that lieutenant. It's possible for some people to have things inside them that make other things happen. Nothing is impossible for a man like that if he thinks about it hard enough. I know you, Andy, you're no killer. I made you do it.
You talked me into killing them? Then they could all be back.
Andy, I never knew it.
How'd you come from that? That noise. Can't you hear it?
stop. There's nobody.
They could all be back. They could all be back. Stop. Don't let them take me, sir. Go away. You should have stuck in and white pen's for. But now it's too late. Too late. Little fight. Give me all the fight. Not the Andrex. Oh, come. Go away. Go away and leave me alone. Go away. Go. Save me, Bobby. He's dead, Lieutenant.
All right, forget the normal procedure. Get him out of here. Exhibit A, he really didn't need it. They died of fright first, just like he did.
You're forgetting about those 7 trips to the mausoleum, Lieutenant. 7 bodies, 7 trips.
They helped.
Lieutenant, Jacob Middle died in France.
Well, that was a plant, Mr. Kraft. Middle's all right. Sorry we had to put you through this, but it was the best way to make McKee come out in the open.
Mrs. Middle stayed up all night at headquarters, waiting for us to call in.
Our radio car is posted just outside. We signaled her to phone you and tell you that lie about her husband. Am I getting through to you, Mr. Kraft?
Well, not quite yet.
We watched him, Bob. He actually managed to unearth all 7 of them. Wonder what got into him.
It was those white pens. It was. Annie, I lost my overcoat.
Oh, where? Which one? I'll get it.
No, never mind. I think I can find it myself.
Frankly, folks, I'd like to apologize for everything tonight, for the movie, for El Sapo's tomfoolery, for the fact that we once again had to pollute the airwaves with radar men from the moon because El Sapo didn't have a movie.
I'm sorry, boss. It just seemed like a good idea at the time. You know, kind of like how when the director and the producer got together and thought of this movie, they thought it seemed like a good idea.
And it wasn't a good idea, was it?
No, sir, it was not.
And it wasn't a good movie, was it?
No, sir. Well, there was one good thing.
No, there wasn't.
I saw one neat thing. I noticed how the guy in the movie, when he started to think he was controlling things with the map got slightly bigger in every scene, like the map was psychologically controlling him. I thought that was a good effect.
Well, that's very observant of you, El Sapo. I think I'm going to give you your best mark ever on your evaluation. 1 star.
1 star out of 5?
No, 100. Say, what do we have on tap for next week?
We have this.
Fiendish horrors. Unbelievable until you see it with your own horror-stricken eyes.
Since I've been here, I've been trying to capture a wolf to extract his glands.
But tell me, Professor, have you ever experimented on yourself?
The new doctor, suspect, beauties, the prey of fiendish desires. A village up in arms. top of the stairs. Water, stop, or I'll shoot. A Nervorama shocker. Warning, this picture is for people with nerves of eye only.
Well, kiss that 1 star goodbye, sir. We've got to sign off now, folks. Sapo has mountains of hair to clean up and lots of laundry to do, and frankly, I could use a nice long nap. So until next time, may all your dreams be nightmares.